Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another video. My name is Hannah. I am a Western Practical Astrologer. Welcome if you are new here, and if you are a returning subscriber, a returning viewer of the channel, welcome back. I hope you're doing well. So we are going to be talking all about this new moon in Gemini, which is taking place on the 18th of June. And what I quite like about the timing of this session today, which wasn't planned, but the timing being Mercury has entered Gemini. So Mercury was in Taurus for the last 10 weeks or so. It has entered Gemini and will be there for the next 2 weeks. And I do have Gemini in the 10th house. I have that Gemini midheaven. So it's safe to say that I feel pretty lit up mentally. The moon is also in Aries right now as well, which I quite like. And then there is that sextile between the moon and Mercury. So safe to say, yeah, I'm full of passion, innovation, just creative ideas, and I want to try all the things. Yeah, I'm feeling really alert today and playful, humorous. I feel in this very lighthearted mood. And I wonder, is anybody else feeling this way right now? Hello, Shannon. Welcome to you. Thanks for being here. 87 Sparker. Hello. Your moon is in Gemini in the first house. Oh, moon in Gemini. Nice. Do you have a Gemini rising as well? Maybe you don't, because maybe you would have said that if you do have a Gemini rising. But anyway, so with all that being said, let's get into this new moon. Edgar, you said you are feeling like that today. Fun. Yeah, it's I would say quite a playful time right now, especially because we're starting to move. So what I mean, we're starting to move. Mars is starting to move. Mars is starting to move away from this grand fixed cross. And of course, Mars is in Leo. So that can be a very entertaining, playful sign. So that mixed with Mercury and Gemini, it just creates this enthusiasm, this eagerness, this fun, loving, playful energy. You said, no, you have a Taurus rising. Okay. And Edgar, you say you have a Gemini rising. All right. So yeah, this new moon will take place in your first house then. Mogabo, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. If I do not pronounce people's names correctly, please, I do apologize. But you said pretty lively despite not having any like fire or air in your chart. Yeah, there is this sort of mix of fire and air coming into play, isn't there, with Gemini season and then Venus and Mars being in Leo, and then of course the moon being in Aries. Diana, you said you feel great today. To your boyfriend. Oh, your boyfriend is a Gemini and you're a Virgo. Fun. Mercury rules. All right, so let me present this presentation to you all. So like I said, the new moon will take place on the 18th of June. So this is basically an overview of what we're going to be talking about today. So the sun and moon will be at 26 degrees in Gemini. So the new moon will take place at 26 degrees, equating to the number 8 in numerology, which we will get to. And then Mercury will be home in this sign, in Gemini. So with that being said, Mercury, keep in mind, is the dispositor of this new moon. Okay. So we'll talk about that as well. And the significant thing too is Mercury in Gemini will make this sextile to Venus and Mars in Leo, though the interesting thing about this is both Venus and Mercury will be at 11 degrees. So that sextile to Venus is the same. So they have the same degree there, being 11 degrees. So we'll touch on that. Another thing is Pluto. So Pluto has re-entered Capricorn. Well, it will have re-entered Capricorn. Well, technically today, actually. So yeah, the 11th, Pluto re-entering Capricorn today. And of course, it will be there then by the time this new moon takes place. Though the thing about this is that Pluto retrograde in Capricorn will make a square. So there will be this square, this T-square to both Taurus and Scorpio. So the nodes being there in Taurus and Scorpio, which we will also touch on. And then Pluto retrograde will also make an in conjunction to the sun and moon. That influence, I think, is going to be quite strong due to the degrees there. A sextile will also take place between Pluto retrograde and Neptune. So they're quite close too in position. And then there will be this trine to Uranus. Now, the orb for that is quite wide, but we're still going to touch on that. And then we'll also move on to Saturn making a square to Mercury. So Saturn being in Pisces, making a square to Mercury in Gemini, and then Neptune being in Pisces and making that square to the sun and moon too. Now, the thing about Saturn as well I want to mention is it will be retrograde. All right, so Saturn is going to station retrograde on the 17th of June, I believe. There will be a video coming out about that very soon. And then the last area we're going to cover today is Jupiter square Venus and Mars. Now, again, I think with the orbs there, a little bit wider. But then Jupiter also makes that sextile to Saturn retrograde, which the sextile is a lot closer. I would say it's more strong. It's stronger in comparison to the square to Venus and Mars. All right, so that is the overview of everything. That is how I like to do it here. Maria, you said you have a Gemini sun, moon, and Venus in the 11th house. Things are looking good. Good. I'm so happy to hear that, Maria. You've got a lot of Gemini then. Happy birthday to you then. If your sun is in Gemini, it is your season. You said, Ram Lam, shoot, you're late. That's okay. That's okay. You didn't miss much. Edgar, you have your sun in Libra, Gemini rising, moon in Capricorn. Just pretty much all your placements listed there. Thanks for sharing your placements with us. Okay, so like I said, the new moon will take place at 26 degrees. So this equivalates to the number 8. Now, what I like about this new moon, with it equivalating to the number 8, is how, okay, so the full moon in Sagittarius took place a little while back, and that equivalated to the number 4. And now we're coming up to this new moon in Gemini equivalating to the number 8. So 4 and 8 are very much numbers in numerology tied to, structure, building, hard work. But especially with the number 8, it is very much about trial and error, overcoming obstacles. It's a very hard-working sign. So do consider these themes. Consider dedication, consider discipline when it comes to this new moon. And what I find further interesting about this, if we draw from Pluto, then Pluto retrograde being in Capricorn, Capricorn is this sign that's very much about organization, hard work, structure, discipline, building a foundation, okay? So with Pluto retrograde being in Capricorn, which we will touch more on, I just see that there is a sort of connection here coming in to do with these discipline types of themes. So with that, do think about this type of energy during this new moon. Now, again, we'll touch more on what I'm saying throughout the aspects as we get onto the aspects. You said you need one-on-one class about stars, something. Are you saying then that you are a beginner of astrology and you would like to learn more about astrology? You said, Sparker, am I Irish? Sorry, trying to find my accent. So I'm from Northern Ireland, from Belfast. So if you're familiar with where that is, yeah. So I am from Belfast in Northern Ireland. Okay, so new moons. New moons are very much about new beginnings, setting new intentions, planting new seeds, reflection. There's, there is a very reflective time during new moons. It's a time to go inward, to get really quiet, to, like I said, you reflect. So you're reflecting basically upon the sign, the types of energies that are going on. And then also looking at the start of a new cycle. Of course, this doesn't have to be the very, very beginning of a new cycle. This could be, adding something to whatever is already there, but there is still this sense of freshness, this newness. And then, of course, our feelings can be amplified during new moons. Okay. We can, basically, feelings may come to the surface, and again, take into consideration the sign that the new moon is playing out in. So on that very note, let's look at Gemini. So Gemini keywords, Gemini is very much this intellectual sign. It is the first air sign within the zodiac, and it's very much tied to our early schooling, our early education. And even thinking about those beginning stages when we learn to talk, we learn to walk, and we identified with certain items, we were able to acknowledge, oh, well, this is a pen, okay, or this is a bit of paper. Yeah, I have my little notes just sitting here. So yeah, there's this explorative side to Gemini where you are exploring the world around you, but it's more so looking at your local area, your local environment, your immediate environment. Um, Versus Sagittarius, which is the opposite sign of Gemini. And Sagittarius comes along and it says, right, okay, go out and explore the world, go further, travel to a completely different country, a completely different city. But Gemini is like, okay, these are my siblings, these are my cousins, these are the people that I know within my sort of local area. And that makes sense because that's how it begins, right? You sort of begin in this place in life where you're only really aware of your own surroundings, and then things can start to change. Of course, it can differ as well depending on who you are and your experiences, your personal experiences. But the point being, Gemini is very much about, okay, those early stages when we are really forming our voice, our intellect, learning, early schooling. And Gemini within itself then is this very intellectual fact finding sign. It's about, okay, what are the facts? Give me the information, give me the data. Research as well is a big part of this. So doing that research, gathering all the information that you need, and then along that path, learning new things, right? There is this curiosity to Gemini. So being very curious about um, not just what it is that you're currently learning, but having this like questioning of what's this, what's that. It kind of reminds me of like a toddler, a toddler who is maybe being fed by their parent, and the parent is feeding them certain food. Maybe it's sweet corn, maybe it's peas. And the toddler says, what's that? And then, the parent's like, it's sweet corn. Why? Or like, why am I eating that? It's like, because you have to, or because it's good for you, or because you'll like it, or because it's a good idea to try it. So yeah, there's just this curiosity, this questioning, and we follow that into our adult lives. And I think, if anything, Gemini really teaches us the importance of questioning, of being able to ask questions, and at the same time being okay with changing our mind. I just want to follow along here a little bit. So, Ramlam, you said you're a total beginner. Okay, well, I hope that I'm able to simplify things for you in a way that makes sense. You said your best friend is a Cancer and you think he is avoiding you nowadays. Oh, okay, sorry to hear that. Teresa, thank you so much, Teresa, for for that donation. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You're triple Gemini. So does that mean your sun, moon, and rising? Your Jupiter is in Sagittarius. Its ruler, Edgar. Okay. Home there in Sagittarius. Very cool. It's also a good time to learn driving because Gemini is represented by the hands. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Mogambo, it Gemini does it rules the third house, I suppose, more specifically, rules transportation and short distance travel. But of course, Gemini is the ruler of that third house. So yeah, there is this element of transportation and vehicles and driving and just even getting from A to B. Yeah, and you know what? When I think about this more so, there's this movement with Gemini. Gemini is always moving, and if it's not physically moving, it's mentally, always thinking. The wheels are always turning in their minds. And what I really find interesting too about Gemini is how they have the ability to say so much, right? They have the ability, in a nice way. I'm being nice about this, but they have the ability to say so much, but yet you're still sort of like, but we haven't really gotten to the depths of like you and what are you not saying, what are you keeping back? And it's interesting because if you think about it, if you think about the houses and the way that they are set up for Gemini, Capricorn is in the 8th house for Gemini. So that Capricorn energy in the 8th house can suggest then these more difficult to access feelings and emotions. And that is not to say that Gemini is not emotional. In fact, I think Gemini can be really moody a lot of the times, really fluctuating, But still, Capricorn there can suggest these types of restrictions and these limitations to do with really opening up. But that is, of course, going off in a whole other direction toward a completely different topic that I could probably talk about, to do with the houses, etc. Which, to be fair, when I really think about this, what I just did there is so Gemini, right? It's so Gemini to go off track, right? So all of this is to say, right, that when it comes to these very things that I've been discussing so far, this is the new moon that is tied to all these things, right? This is the new moon that highlights these things, illuminates these things in a way. Yes, illumination is more to do with full moons, but I'm still getting to the point of we're going to be addressing these types of themes and setting new intentions as well. Okay, so setting new intentions when it comes to curiosity, when it comes to versatility, when it comes to socializing. Gemini is such a social sign. Now, with the same token, Gemini, of course, is the twins, right? So there is this duality. There's this multifaceted part of Gemini as well. So there's the duality in that Gemini can be sort of two things at the same time, or have very two distinct sides to them. You may see one part of them in a certain period of time and then a completely different part of them during another period of time. But then at the same time, multifaceted. So Gemini actually teaches us that we present different sides to our personality based on who we are around, right? So the type of way that I'm going to present myself right now on here is, of course, I am going to be somewhat more professional. I am going to be quite considerate toward the things that I'm saying and sharing, okay? Because hello, this is my professional life here, okay? But then let's say I am out with my friends or I'm out with my partner, the ways in which I may behave may be a bit different. It also depends on how comfortable you are with certain people. The way that you act with your father versus your mother, the way that you act with your best friend versus the barista in Starbucks. You get what I mean? So Gemini really teaches us this. And you notice these types of things too when it comes to heavy Gemini placement people. And they have this amazing ability to be social and to, find this sort of way to connect with people. They sort of can sense, okay, should I give or should I maybe pull back a little bit? There's Gemini, they're very, very smart. They're very smart, bright, alert, sharp, and there's no getting past a Gemini. You can't, they're going to catch the thing that you said, even though they may act at times like, whew, they can be very observant, right? But they might not let on that they are being observant. That is what I'm trying to get at here. Okay. So, yeah, I'm sort of just going on this whole tangent about Gemini because I just feel in a really chatty mood. And that's Gemini, right? That's Gemini. I love when I do these videos because I love being swept away by the energies, by the archetypes. Okay, so all of this is to say once more that, yeah, this is a new moon where it's like, okay, time to plant new seeds when it comes to these things, time to set new intentions when it comes to these things. And then another thing as well is Gemini, they are able to form connections. They can connect people and places and things together. And they're so good at that. They could be the types of people who have one group of friends, okay, a selection of friends over here, and then a completely different selection of friends over here. And so they tend to know a lot of people, even just thinking about day-to-day life. A Gemini is going to be that person who may be like, oh, hey to the butcher, or hey to the barista at Starbucks. Hey to that teacher from back in high school. Oh, hey, right, I remember you. Okay, cool. There's this lighthearted chattiness to Gemini, and it doesn't have to get so deep. It doesn't have to be super serious all the time. And I think that lightheartedness is part of their charm. On that note, Gemini can be very, very charming individuals. Let me just look here once again. Teresa, thank you so much. Yeah, so you do. You've got a sun, moon, and rising. Cool. Let me just go further up a little bit. Your sun, moon, and rising brain is crazy. Oh my gosh. Yeah, because that brings me back to that point of just thinking all the time, having to continuously stimulate your mind. I have felt this throughout Gemini season. As soon as Gemini season started, I'm like, okay, I'm on my phone and I'm watching TV and I'm reading books and I'm wanting to make videos and I'm writing posts on Instagram, just doing all the things. I mean, I already do loads of those things anyway, but I do feel like there is more of an alertness to it all. Like, yeah. Okay, go. One thing to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. And I do have to pull it in a little bit and kind of go, right, breathe. Still trying to learn those lessons that Taurus season brought up for me, where it's like, okay, actually, I need to recenter myself here. Gemini energy can be very scattered, and that's something that's not on there. It can be so scattered, and Gemini energy also can show up as us spreading ourselves far too thin. Where it's like, oh, I'll do this project. And then, oh, I'll do this one as well. And then you've got like 5 projects. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is a burden. I just want to abandon them all. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I do have a Gemini midheaven, so I can kind of relate to this with respect to what I do on here. There have been times in the past where it's like, oh, I'll start a series, and then a few episodes in, I'll start another series, and so yeah, trying to learn to be somewhat more cautious about such things. Then again, perhaps in Gemini's mind, it's like, here today, gone tomorrow, bye, see ya. That's not what I think, but I'm just saying. That could be like a Gemini thing, right? Okay. Let me keep seeing here. They're every crazy. They're crazy. Okay. 100% correct. Gemini is fun. Yes, they are fun. Okay, Mars and Scorpio. Ooh, wonderful. Not even the ancients dare to call. Okay. Sometimes I feel like I'm a walking lie detector. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's almost like Gemini can pick up on the undertones in situations. They can sort of be plugged into their environment, you know? It can be hard to I think it can be hard at times to settle the mind. But then the thing too, I suppose, about Gemini is that they can detach. They can detach. Where it's like, right, okay, I'm not going to become super involved in this or like get into this too in this super emotional way, okay? And maybe in a way, Gemini actually needs that from time to time, to be able to go, okay, like I have a lot of stuff going on up here. I actually need to separate myself for a little while. And yeah, I just find it interesting. Gemini is like this perfect example of an archetype that could be super, super social, but then also super, super quiet. It just kind of depends on the day. Okay, it depends on the day. It depends on whether they've eaten or, it just depends on who they're around. So yeah, these are different Gemini themes that I wanted to talk about today. So just consider them when it comes to this new moon, because we will be setting new intentions, planting new seeds to do with such things. The detachment is helpful during emergency services. Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. Okay, so moving on. Mercury will be in Gemini during this new moon. And like I said, Mercury is home in this sign, and it's also the dispositor of this new moon. So this further adds to the researching, the data collecting, the investigations. It's kind of funny that someone mentioned there about the whole lie detector thing with all the investigations there. Gemini is the one who pulls up the receipts, like, got it here. Okay. You think you can lie to me? It's all here. And then also it's the logic. It's the logic. It's the outwitting other people. If you maybe try to approach a Gemini in a way that they don't like, it's like, okay, well, let's be logical about this. And then you may say certain things that come across as perhaps illogical or even logical in your own mind, but they're still going to find a way to flip it. Flip it. And I'm not saying that's necessarily always a good thing. Okay, Gemini. Okay. Still love you. Okay. um okay, so new ideas. Mercury and Gemini can show up as new ideas. And the thing about Gemini too is it's such a creative sign. Mercury being in Gemini can point toward great creative ideas. And then there is that curiosity and mental stimulation, just enjoying the whole thing of, okay, I'm learning something new, or I'm talking to this really interesting person. I'm feeling super engaged in this conversation. Now, there can be the part of it where, of course, during this new moon, even with Mercury being in Gemini over the next 2 weeks, we can sense whenever things are too boring. It's like, oh, this is kind of boring. I'm kind of stuck. I just want things to change right now. And this is so relevant, I think, especially during this time, when we've been experiencing this grand fixed cross, like what feels like forever with Mars entering Leo on the 20th of May. It's just been, oh, move already, move. Yeah, I'm not drawing from my own experience or anything here. So yeah, I think Gemini season, this new moon, and then also Mercury being in Gemini is just highlighting that, there is such a joy in experiencing change. And that within itself, I find to be interesting, because often in life we are afraid of change. Often in life, it's like, oh no, I don't want to be pushed outside of my comfort zone. That's very Taurus season, right? That's very Taurus. Gemini comes along and goes, oh, well, go. You ready? And then you're like, no, I'm not ready. Okay, we're going to count. 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1, go. Just, that's Gemini. That's just what I kind of thought there. But yeah, the whole point of this is that, we realize through Gemini that change is going to happen. Change continuously happens. And that's the thing. Even if things seem really stagnant and you feel stuck, and it feels like nothing is moving, in actuality, things are moving all the time. That's time. If you really think about it in a logical way, like, time is forever ticking, and that within itself is change. Things are continuously moving. So I think Mercury entering Gemini, and then as also Mars starts to move away from this grand fixed cross, I think we're starting to feel this. We're starting to get our mojo back. We're starting to feel like, okay, actually, yeah, I'm feeling hopeful. I'm feeling a lot more curious again, or I feel like I have what it takes to do something, especially with the moon being in Aries today. But then at the same time, there can be this restlessness. Okay. So this restlessness when it comes to Gemini. Um, and I think that especially can happen whenever we're caught up in those moments of boredom. Where it's like, I'm just staring at the same four walls, like I don't even know what to do. And whenever we become too caught up in a certain routine or a habit, Gemini is very much about, well, what are the little changes I can make? But it's being able to think, it's being able to come up with that new idea. So point being that Mercury and Gemini can certainly help us with those ideas, coming up with new ideas. Another thing though is jumping from one topic to another. And then there can be inconsistencies too. And then there's lots of projects that don't get finished. So I would say, with Mercury being in Gemini over the next couple of weeks, just to be cautious of this jumping around aimlessly type of energy, right? And to try your best to focus on things. Giving into distractions is likely. Now, of course, I am saying that, and I understand that there are so many people who even have certain, um, mental health difficulties, with focus. I'll not get too much into that, but basically, I'm just trying to say here that I do get that we're all different, right? We all have different ways that we focus, and that we complete tasks and all that stuff. So, but the point is still, with Gemini energy, it can point toward us becoming jumbled, getting jumbled up, or being very inconsistent because we're jumping around so much. Another thing then is variety. Variety is the spice of life. Is that the saying? I hope that's the saying. Variety. Often in life there can be too much variety though, so that's just my opinion. Yeah, I feel like, Mercury and Gemini can show up as variety and exploring different things, exploring our options, our choices. But there's also the side of it where we can be indecisive, where then we don't actually pick something or make up our mind, because it's like, oh, there's so much choice. Like, which one do I choose? And maybe the beauty of Gemini also is we can choose more than one sometimes. Hey. But do remember, just my Virgo energy likes to come in and make it very practical, and wants to say that sometimes in life you gotta choose. Okay. And sometimes in life as well, not choosing is a choice. Okay, Gemini and Libra. Okay, that's good. Another thing is, with Mercury and Gemini, what I've noticed, just some kind of funny things to do with how they communicate, people even with Mercury and Gemini, and things that may come up for us, right, as a collective with this transit over the next couple of weeks, is the whole thing of, oh, lack of a better word. Oh, for lack of a better word. Or, oh, where was I? Where was I? What was I saying again? Oh, damn, I lost my train of thought there. Because there's just so many streams of thought going, and information is just continuously being pulled from the subconscious mind into the conscious mind. That's what Mercury teaches us, but with the Gemini influence, it's like all the time retrieving stuff that's back there and like adding it and presenting it and sharing it, and then all of a sudden you've jumped 5 conversations ahead, and then the other person that you're talking to is like, I was talking to you about this jug over here, and now we're talking about dogs. Okay, well, let's just go with it. Okay, fine. Yeah. Some people may find it difficult to keep up with that kind of the progression in that way, the swiftness. Still, yeah, there can be this whole thing where there's just a lot of mental stuff going on for Gemini. And another thing is, but back to the point. Okay, let's get back to the point. Okay, right. Okay, that was the conversation we're having. Oh, but you know what? The reason why I went down that way was because it actually adds to this part, So there's a method to the madness. Okay, there's a method to the madness when it comes to Gemini energy. It's just often, they take you on a journey. Okay, and this is the thing to keep in mind during this transit as well, is consider that. Consider the journey of your conversations, and the things are just going to go the way they're going to go, and trust that you'll make it back. Trust that you will make it back to that main point eventually, and even just trust that whatever is coming out somehow relates, somehow is connected, right? That pink jug could very well be connected to the dog in some way. And yeah, and there's also that thing of humor, right? There's humor. It's the jokester with Gemini. Being able to laugh something off, being able to laugh at yourself. Just try and not take it so seriously, says Gemini. And then the last thing there is, hey, that's interesting. Hey, that's really interesting. I have a Gemini midheaven, right? And I say this all the time. I'm always on social media. I'm like, hey, yeah, that's so interesting. Oh my gosh, cool. Tell me more. Yeah, that kind of ties in with the whole curiosity as well with Gemini. And then I would even say with Gemini, just such intelligence. It's the fact that they can be super alert and quick-witted and quick-minded and have an answer almost for everything, and they can fire facts, they can recall research that they've done. Such minds. Love it. Love it. Okay, so yeah, basically consider this information during this new moon, and even whilst Mercury is in Gemini over the next couple of weeks. Okay, so Mercury also will make this sextile to both Venus and Mars. Now, like I said, Venus will be stronger because they will be the same degree. Both will be 11 degrees. And before I get into this, I want you to keep in mind that the Venus pre-shadow period will begin on the 19th of June, so the very next day after this new moon takes place. So from the 19th of June to the 22nd of July, it's most likely that we will be revisiting a situation that plays out during this time. Something about this time period will be revisited, will be reassessed during that Venus retrograde from the 22nd of July until the 3rd of September. So I just wanted to throw that in there. But still, I think that with this sextile, this only adds to the playfulness, the childlikeness, the entertainment. Leo is the star. Okay, Leo is like, welcome to the show. Welcome to my show. And so with Venus being in Leo, making a sextile to Mercury, it's being very vocal about that. It's like, this is what I learned, and this is the research I did. Isn't it fabulous? Isn't it great? So just, I feel like I'm doing it right now. I just feel like, I'm just trying to tune into more of this like enjoyment, just enjoying conversation. So I think this sextile will show up as, let's enjoy the words. Let's enjoy this engagement right now. Like, let's enjoy this discussion, and let's go back and forth in a way where we're being creative and we're having fun, we're having a good time. Loving and celebrating words, I would say. Saying also what we truly think. That's probably something to be cautious of. And the reason why I also say this is because Mars is there. So it can be this whole thing of, I'm just going to tell you what I think. And I don't care if you like it. It's just what I think. And I think even further on from this point, Gemini can have the tendency of not having a filter. Now, with that in mind, okay, so yes, there's one part of this where we can have the tendency of saying something that can come across as brash, rude, mean, kind of cruel, insensitive. But then I think at the same time, there's a part of it where there has to be this truthfulness. There is this type of honesty, I think, that is presented through Gemini. And sometimes, you know what? The truth hurts. Okay. I say that with love. I'm just saying that because I don't want to be criticized. I'm joking. No, but seriously, sometimes the truth can hurt. Sometimes it can hurt. But then you just said it yourself. You said, Ram Lam, you can't lie. So would you rather have someone lie to you? Or tell the truth? Now, I know that it's probably very nuanced to what I'm saying. It's very nuanced. But basically, what I'm trying to get at is, I think this new moon is going to show up as this sort of thing of truthfulness versus lies. Do you want me to be honest with you about this situation? Or would you rather me just not be truthful as a way to validate your feelings? Um, but again, sometimes, and when the truth does hurt, that actually can lead to growth. That can actually lead to us discovering more about ourselves, perhaps, and maybe changing something about ourselves or recognizing something about ourselves. Okay. So, yeah, I think this new moon is going to give us an opportunity to really say what we truly think and even what we truly feel in some ways, because, of course, the moon is coming into this in a way. So, yeah, truth telling, I think, and genuine communication. I think just Leo as well is very much about, okay, be genuine with me. Leo energy is also this energy of authenticity and being genuine, being noble, being dignified in your approach. And so I think with Venus making the sextile to Mercury, we're going to see a lot of this during this new moon. Just being able to come at things in a genuine way. And another thing is creativity, creative minds, creative projects. And both Leo and Gemini are such creative signs. So I think this aspect is a very interesting aspect and can perhaps produce amazing results for us creatively. And then another thing is perhaps we will value socializing during this time, or we will feel inspired within discussions, inspired by communication, inspired by learning. I really enjoy Gemini for its ability to open us up to learning more. I think that questioning and that flexibility that Gemini has can be so beneficial when it comes to opening up our minds or becoming informed about something. And then another thing is uplifting words, having these uplifting words of encouragement. Okay. Uplifting words of encouragement where we may feel like, okay, I'm here to encourage you, I'm here to support you, I'm here to motivate you. You got this, you got this. I'm rooting for you. Yes, I'm going to be your cheerleader right now. And then also having these types of thoughts for ourselves, okay? And I like this because often in life we can be our own inner critic, right? We can judge ourselves the most in life, where it's like, I'm such a bad person and I did this and I did that. And oh my gosh, I'm such an idiot. I know for me, I have a lot of Virgo energy, a lot of Capricorn energy, and I can be so self-deprecating. I can even be self-deprecating in like a fun way, and it's not really overly serious. It's like whatever. I know my flaws and yeah, cool. But no, basically, yeah, I think coming from this place, I can be overly, overly, overly critical. So I think with Gemini and Leo coming into this, it's perhaps switching that to more, okay, how about you switch that dialogue? How about you, or those thoughts? How about you switch your mindset to, I can do this. I'm awesome. I've got this. Yes, 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 yes. Just feeling inspired, feeling motivated. And then another thing is having the strength when it comes to communication, speaking from the heart, speaking from the heart. Love this. I love this during this new moon, speaking from the heart. And then having the courage to do that. Okay. How many times in life do we just sit back and it's like, oh, I'm not gonna share, I'm not gonna say, I'm not gonna let this person know how I feel or what I'm thinking, because I don't want to look stupid or I don't want to look dumb. But no, this aspect is very much about, okay, just do it. Just do it. Um, and then having the courage to learn something new. And like I said, asking questions. We've sort of already touched on these things to do with Mercury and Gemini. Oh my gosh, I am talking and talking and talking, everyone. All right, let me just pause for a wee moment and read through some comments. I'm enjoying this. I hope you're enjoying this session, everyone. Where are we? What's Hannah's birth chart? You want to know about my birth chart? So I'm an Aquarius with a moon in Aries and a Virgo rising. I will say that. Honest, yes. Can't lie. Yep. Gemini, new moon, exact opposite stellium and Sag. Ooh, exact opposites to this new moon. Ooh, interesting. Hi, Federico. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Hi, Hannah. Capricorn here. New Year's baby. Oh, you were born on New Year's. Cool, Lisa. Oh my gosh, what was that like? I should do videos about astrocartography. I actually have a video already about astrocartography. Just the one. But I would say there's a lot of information in that, so I would recommend going to that video if you want to know more. Speak from the heart, indeed. Aquarius always inspires you. Okay, so Mercury square Saturn will also take place. Okay, Saturn will be in Pisces, of course, and it will be retrograde. It's actually going to station retrograde from the 17th of June. So there will be a video coming out about all that. So with this particular square, let's try and think about, okay, we may be reconsidering where the lines are blurred. Okay, thinking about things to do with deception, delusions, lies, okay, saving ourselves from unnecessary confusion. So, this, I think, in a weird way, circles back to the whole being honest with Gemini, you know? Because I think what this is highlighting is the parts of ourselves that aren't fully honest, actually. And you know what? And I'm saying this in a hopefully in a thoughtful way, but I actually also think that often in life we lie all the time. Right? We lie all the time. And 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 I mean that in a way where if someone, like, for example, right, let me just say, for example, let's say you go to your friend's house and they make you this meal. Okay, they make you this big dish and you don't like it, you actually don't like it, but you're not going to tell your friend that you don't like it. Okay, of course, situations you may just say, again, it goes back to the whole thing of, well, I know that person really well, and yeah, okay, I'm just going to say I didn't like it. But there are certain situations in life where it's like, I didn't like that food, but then you still go, yeah, I loved it, you know and that's a lie, that is a lie. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that we're bad people for it. I also think it's tied to how we socialize, how we get along with other people. um so yeah, that's what I'm trying to say there with the whole Gemini energy too. But of course, with Saturn making that square to Mercury, this is also about looking at those deeper lies that we tell ourselves. Okay, really reflecting upon, right, where am I not being honest about my path, about my true intentions here, about what I'm really thinking. The times when we really, really hold back and we know it, we know that that thing isn't healthy anymore. We know that that relationship isn't serving us anymore. We know that that program that we're on is just terrible and we don't want to do it anymore. It's having the ability to reassess these things. Also, rethinking times when we are overly involved in other people's business or conversations, where it's like, that's actually none of your business. It's actually none of your business. And you know what? This also makes me think about another thing. Okay, what's coming to my mind here? Okay, is how Pisces can be tied to um it can be tied to morality in its own way. Um, what I'm trying to get at here is, often in life we can think that something is really terrible, right? Something is really terrible, that something that someone has done that's terrible. They've done that. Oh my gosh, how could they? How could they? But then I think Pisces, in this weird mirroring way, this introspective way, comes along and says, "Oh, okay, so what is it saying about you? How can you reflect on your own life? And what is it that you're judging about this other person or this other situation? Maybe it's good not to get involved here. Maybe it's good just to sort of remove yourself from that situation. Maybe it's good to recognize what you're giving your energy to, and what you don't need to give your energy to." And that's very Saturn and Pisces, of being able to set those boundaries, right? Those emotional boundaries. Yeah. Um so let me just read again. These are very chatty in the chat today, which I'm enjoying. You like to, oh, everyone is hungover on your yeah. Yeah, I was thinking that, Lisa, with having it on New Year's Day, everyone's celebrating and partying. It's like, well, what about you? It's your first live, Norel, that you've attended and you've been watching for a while. Big Libra here. Oh, thank you for being here. Thanks for attending the live. I hope you enjoy it. Jason, you're enjoying the talking. You love the fact that I am chatty and open about myself. I did not see your questions. It might be a little bit too far up there, Teresa. So I'm just going to continue with this. Okay, so another thing is this aspect may point toward discussions which go on behind closed doors, secrets. Okay, what information is being hidden, what we don't know. Now, this goes back to the previous point that I was trying to get at, which I couldn't fully articulate well, and that's why I was like, but I see this as, even on this collective societal level, thinking about, okay, well, there's so much often that is hidden. If we think about certain famous people in the public eye, there's a lot that we don't know, and there's a lot that is hidden. The truth can be often hidden. Is going to bring up some of these things, or maybe it's that certain information will come to light. But again, perhaps it's about taking back our own power and being like, okay, I'm not going to give into that drama. Even think about Jupiter there and how it's making that square to the Leo energy with Mars and Venus. It's like, oh, drama. Oh, this happened here in Britain, or this happened here in this situation. Oh, did you see the news? Did you see the news? Oh my gosh, flash, 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 drama, 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 drama. So I think the new moon, in a way, can maybe show up as us not giving in and more so focus on ourselves. So Teresa, you said, do you have to get this paper out today because it's the 11th Pluto? I'm so you got Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising, and then Pluto going back into your 8th house. Pluto would have been in Aquarius going into your 9th house. So is this a paper to do with the 11th? Oh, the 11th of June. Okay. I'm not really sure of your situation, and also I don't have a copy of your chart to be able to answer that fully. So yeah, have I read Sun Signs? Yeah, I have that book actually. I have a copy of that book. Right, I'm gonna keep going. And do you know what I'm gonna do, folks? Is I'm gonna look at the chat at the end before the horoscopes. I did not expect there to be so many comments today, a lot of chat going on. I do thank you for that. It's enjoyable, but I do need to get through this as well. So I will get to that at the end. Okay, another thing with Mercury square Saturn retrograde is distraction. Oh my gosh, distraction. Okay, distraction in that we could be presented with one thing. This is going to be very Pisces. Being presented with one thing, like, oh, look at this shiny thing. Okay, let's think about the Apple Vision glasses that came out, by Apple. Oh, look, oh, amazing. Oh, yes, buy this in 2024. Buy it. But then, what is not being hidden, right? What's not being told? What I think this is where the questioning really comes in. And I don't mean to go full blown Aquarius right now when I'm talking about this. But I just think that often in life, there can be this distraction where, you're presented with this image, but in actuality, there is something happening beneath the surface that you don't see. And I know that also sounds very like Scorpio energy too, but Pisces also shows up as this, thinking about secrets, things that are hidden, things that are kept out of sight, behind the scenes activity. So just, yeah, I would say to try and not become swept up in being distracted. Okay. And also, if we think about this on a personal level, okay, I also think there are parts of this, of course, astrology is so nuanced, but I think there's parts of this where we can be in this drifting, wandering space, and maybe it's about allowing the mind to wander at times, allowing ourselves to get into that imaginative um, side of ourselves, into the fantasy world and seeing, where is my mind going? What's happening there? What is my subconscious saying? What are my dreams saying? What are the messages that I'm getting through here? So this can be an opportunity for us to become curious about a fantasy, about a dream. But again, try not to become swept up in our own delusions. And then another thing is mental limitations, maybe tied to our intuition, tied to our memories and imagination. So we could experience some blockages, just some limitations where, okay, certain sort of the inner voice basically may not be fully materialized, or it may not come through in the most concrete way. It may feel like, oh, something isn't quite making sense here, but let me just stay with this. Let me just stay with this memory or with this vision that I have or this feeling that I have and just see what happens. Just, yeah, allowing for things to unfold and indulging in the mystery a little bit too. Yeah, there is this kind of wandering mind that can come up during this time as well. Okay, so the sun and the moon then will also make this square to Neptune in Pisces. So this further adds to what I've been talking about. In fact, there is the aspects here between Mercury. So sorry, this aspect that I'm talking about is stronger than the Mercury Saturn one. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. So I would say that with the sun and moon making a square to Neptune, this is also about setting intentions tied to the mystery, to the unknown, our dreams, our fantasies, our subconscious. We could be swept up in untruths, in things which aren't real. Just keep that in mind with Neptune energy, thinking about logic versus our intuition, our mind versus our heart. And then what also comes to my mind with this is often in life our decisions are very much illogical. We often just make a decision and maybe they don't make sense to us. But I can't help but think that with the Gemini energy coming along, it's sort of highlighting that there is this sort of need to know. It's like, I need to make sense of this. Like my brain, my mental ability needs to see this and to make sense of this. But I just think that with the square, maybe it's recognizing that there are just certain things that aren't, that have not and will not be fully formed or materialized just yet. But then you got to give it time. It could be that later on down the line, it's like, oh, right, okay, I get that now. Okay. Yeah, Saturn in Pisces, I think, is really teaching us a lot to do with this, a lot to do with guidance and trust and letting go, accepting what will be. And it's not the most fun time. I'm just being blunt about that. It's not the most fun time. But I drawing from my own experience, I'm like, okay, just it will unfold as it should. I just gotta trust that. So yeah, big themes to do with trust and allowing, I think, during this time. And then uncertainty could be a present, uncertainty over which part of us is leading the way, or uncertainty about, okay, well, what is the next step? And then another thing is the many contradicting sides to our personality. As humans, we are so hypocritical. We're so contradictory. We're continuously just bleeding and changing and reshaping and learning. Yeah, so I think this new moon is really highlighting these themes, just how contradictory we can be and kind of just going, oh, well. No, but at the same time, I do understand that it's important to have some sort of sense of like, okay, well, what is the next step here? Or so perhaps there is a part of this where we can become swept up in something that is maybe too overwhelmingly illogical. So yeah, perhaps show caution is what I'm trying to say here. Though at the same time, we may be feeling excited and mentally stimulated, but again, not knowing which path to follow. Sitting in uncertainty then, um, and then feeling through that uncertainty, feeling through our emotions. Yeah. So with that being said, do keep in mind again that the Venus pre-shadow period, which will start on the 19th of June. Okay, so yeah, these are some themes here to do with the square to Neptune. And then Jupiter will also make a sextile to Saturn retrograde. And then it will also make a square to Venus and Mars. Now, the sextile between Jupiter and Saturn retrograde is much stronger. So yeah, I just really see this as a new moon that is full of spiritual insights. You know, I've listed some things there, practical things, meditation, philosophy, wisdom, spiritual growth, grounding, connecting with others, connecting with nature, seeing the bigger picture about our feelings and how far we've come. So I think there is a part of this where it's about, okay, let's take a moment to really appreciate, to show gratitude. I have certainly realized over the last, well, I'd say a couple months, that there was so much that I took for granted. So many things I took for granted. And I think that as the nodes even start to make their final few degrees through Taurus and Scorpio, there are such lessons here to do with appreciation and gratitude, especially with Jupiter there being in Taurus too. Um, and then I think with that gratitude can come this sense of calm. You know, it's like, okay, well, I see what I took for it's like, right, okay, did you see that? Were you able to recognize the things that you were holding on to, the things that um hi, okay, I'm just checking with you guys. Is the internet okay? Is my connection okay with you? Could you maybe let me know if the connection is okay? Because I hope it's not jumping around and it's really bad. I'll keep going anyway. And yeah, just let me know if the internet is off or anything, if the connection isn't the best. Okay, so another thing with Jupiter making a square to Venus and Mars is just be cautious of overdoing it, overindulgence, overstimulating ourselves, unnecessary drama. Okay, things I was talking about earlier. But then at the same time, our larger perspectives may be challenged by our personal views, our personal beliefs. There can be this deliberate energy, yet stubborn stubborn energy. There can be this passionate energy floating around during this new moon, but also this glorifying energy. And then it's the whole thing of, yeah, trying to get other people to bend to our will. And maybe Gemini, you know, the Gemini moon reminds us just the importance of having this sense of being, you know, being able to change. Okay, let's change this. Let's try and not get stuck in a rut here. Sometimes spotty, but fine. Okay. Okay. Oh, I don't like that. Don't like it being at all like that. Okay, so let's keep going then. So Pluto retrograde will also make an in conjunction to the sun and moon. Now this is part of a bigger story from last year, which I've talked about previously. So if we remember the Mars in Gemini transit last year from the end of August to March, 2023, and then the retrograde from October until January. So I think this is an opportunity for us to revisit those goals, to set new intentions to do with these goals, and readjusting a few things regarding our mindset, regarding communication matters, and doing so in these very transformative ways. But of course, looking at the foundation of things, looking at the structure, the stability of things, taking a detour when it comes to our general discussions and investigations. Being able to have this sense of humility to change something, taking another look at our dreams. Saturn in Pisces helps materialize and then bring form to our dreams, which can be very handy. Now, with that being said, again, with Neptune, be cautious of things that are too foggy, hazy, confusing, being mistaken. But you know what? When we're mistaken, it's also an opportunity for us to recognize that. But then again, with Neptune, we may not even realize that we are mistaken. And then as well, I think there's an ability to soften, to surrender, and to experience inner peace in a way. And at the same time, I think that inner peace comes due to a major breakthrough, like a major realization, or just becoming more aware of, okay, what is it that I'm holding on to here? What is it that I need to let go of? And then with Uranus there, of course, the orb is quite wide, but I still think that this is an opportunity to experience these achievement and purpose breakthroughs, gaining a deeper understanding then about a financial matter, or being surprised by certain alternatives to do with our security, to do with our resources. And then the last slide here is to do with Pluto retrograde making a square to the nodes in Taurus and Scorpio. So try to consider what occurred for you from the end of February. Okay, so Pluto was 29 degrees. So we may be tying up some loose ends, okay, some unfinished business to do with our security, intimacy, vulnerability, our subconscious, stability, and also, I think gaining a deeper understanding about our values and our transformations. And then there is this ability to also gain deeper clarity, deeper understanding, because we realize, what truly matters, what is truly valuable to us. And I am aware that for the past couple of slides, I haven't really been going off on a tangent or speaking off the information, because I'm trying to get through the information because of the connection. But I do really enjoy being able to draw from my own experiences, and I think with this point, realizing what truly matters, I mean, like I was saying a moment ago, there are things that I realized just how much I took for granted. So I think coming up to this new moon, I just can't wait to set new intentions to do with what I do on here, right? Really what I do on here. I have these goals in mind. I have projects that I'm really eager to get completed. And yeah, I just value what I do on here so, so much. I value my role as an astrologer so much. And you know what? I've even realized that over the last couple months, even from the beginning of the year, just how much I want to connect with other astrologers. I want to connect with other people within the astrology space. Yeah, these are the ways in which I'm feeling right now about all of it, especially coming up to this new moon. Yeah, and then another thing is we cannot hide from the truth about our direction. We can't hide from the truth. Our shadow may present itself with regard to money, our habits, debts, loss. My gosh, that lunar eclipse in Scorpio brought up so much for me with regard to the past, my past ways, self-destructive tendencies. Huge, really, really eye-opening for me. And then the last thing there is, what is the foundation of your values? Okay, consider this question. What is the foundation of your values, and what endings have occurred for you to realize these values? Really consider this question as the nodes make their final few degrees in the signs of Taurus and Scorpio. Okay, so that's all of the information. Now I'm just going to check in with you guys and see here and wonder, is the connection a bit better? Is my connection better? um, please let me know before we get into your horoscopes. I will also put timestamps. If you are enjoying this video, do of course make sure to give it a like. And yeah, subscribe if you haven't already as well. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead. Right, Aries. So Aries, this new moon in Gemini. Oh, great, Jason. Thank you so much. You are awesome. Thank you so, so much. I appreciate you letting me know. Okay, so Aries, this new moon will take place in your third house. All right, so a lot here, Aries, to do with, of course, your mindset, communication, speech, setting new intentions here to do with any educational projects that you're working on, any learning that you're doing, setting new intentions when it comes to the relationships you have with your cousins, your peers, your classmates, even thinking about your social networks there. If I was to even just draw from my own experience with this really quickly, I have an Aries moon. So kind of leaning on or going back to what I mentioned in terms of wanting to connect with different astrologers, different people within the astrology community, I can kind of see this in a way. I know this is perhaps more of an 11th house matter, but I think with the third house, it's still about the communication, right? It's still about those connections, those general connections, and showing that curiosity. So for you, Aries, yeah, it could be that you are really focusing on those types of general connections in your own life and those general discussions, those general interactions overall. Okay, so Taurus, I think this new moon is going to show up as you setting new intentions to do with your earning potential, your resources. I mean, with you, Taurus, with Gemini there in the second house, you tend to seek variety when it comes to your resources, or you may have multiple streams of income, or you may use your mind as a way to earn money. It's like your smarts can help earn you money. You may actually be quite skilled within a communicative field, a communicative area, Taurus. So basically, this is about you setting new intentions to do with such things, setting new intentions when it comes to your communication skills, your communication gifts and talents. And what else could I say about this for you, Taurus? Perhaps you'll also set new intentions to do with, okay, actually how you earn a living. Okay. If we think about your earning potential, the money that you make, yeah, setting these new intentions where you are thinking about, okay, variety, switching things up, what can you change? Gemini, Gemini. So this new moon is going to happen in your first house. So I see this as you perhaps planting new seeds when it comes to your aims, your ambitions, your life path, your overall direction. I mean, you're continuously changing things up anyway, Gemini. But yeah, I think this could be a change where it's like, right, okay, I am ready for something new, new beginnings, a fresh start, a fresh perspective. Even looking at your appearance and your physical body, so maybe changing something about your physical appearance, your actual body, or even changing something to do with your identity, right? Whether that be getting a house, having children, getting married, these types of things change your identity. So yeah, new beginnings to do with these types of things. Moving on to Cancer. Okay, so this new moon will happen in your 12th house, Cancer. Okay, so I would say with this one, with the 12th house, there is a part of this where, okay, time to wind down a little bit, or time to relax, put your feet up, okay, recharge, renewal, retreat, all these types of 12th house matters, especially because it's going to be your season very, very soon. Your season is just around the corner, Cancer. So yeah, maybe this is an opportunity for you to kind of, rest your mind a little bit. Rest your mind, do some journaling, lose yourself in something um, quite interesting in a way. Thinking about even how you escape, right? So escaping into a nice book or novel, or escaping into a certain article or something that is just interesting, something that really grabs your mind, right? So yeah, there is this sense of escapism here for you, Cancer. And then I would also say setting new intentions when it comes to your spiritual self, your intuition. Yeah, these more spiritual sides to the 12th house may come up for you, and maybe you'll want to really ease into that a lot more. Um, yeah, and I would also say with this, Cancer, perhaps this is about you. I just feel like there's more to say here. There's more to say that's coming up in my brain. Um, I feel like this could be where there's a renewal, so like a releasing of your emotions, or a renewal when it comes to your emotional well-being, or realizing what it is that you would like to feel moving forward, being able to get to a point of, you know what, this is what I need. This right here is what I need. And right now, I need to be able to work through these things alone, preferably. Okay, Leo. So, Leo, this new moon is going to happen in your 11th house. Okay, Leo. Well, I mean, this could be quite a social time for you, even with the sun traveling through your 11th house throughout Gemini season. It's like, right, okay, my alliances, my clubs, my teams, my groups. What communities am I a part of? Time to socialize, time to gather together. But the new moon, I think, will get you setting new intentions then to do with such things, especially if it is that you're part of this club, this group that's very much about exploring ideas, right? These ideas, and these are the things that I've learned, and these are the connections that I've formed. Yeah, I think that you can be like this, Leo. You can be um, quite the social people, where you can carry yourselves really well within social situations. You can even entertain others with your charisma. I mean, it's you, Leo. So basically, yeah, this new moon can perhaps highlight you embracing something new beginnings to do with your communities and teams and alliances, and even thinking about your hopes and visions for the future. I mean, with you having Gemini in the 11th house, Leo, your hopes and visions for the future usually involve something like, marketing yourself, selling something, selling an idea, advertising. Yeah, something to do with your smarts as well, using your smarts. So yeah, setting new intentions when it comes to these areas as well. Virgo. So, Virgo, this new moon is going to happen in your 10th house. All right, Virgo. So, I think this is about you wanting to start this new cycle to do with your intellectual ambitions, to do with your educational achievements, even thinking here about how your purpose, your life mission is often tied to how you communicate, how you get your words across, how you teach, how you share, how you inform. So planting new seeds here when it comes to these types of things, Virgo. And then as well, I think that your public image, your reputation is usually that of being somewhat humorous, quick-witted. I think you also like to be recognized for your smarts. I'm not drawing from my own experience or anything here, no. No, it's seriously. I think that the new moon is going to provide this type of fresh start, right? This fresh start when it comes to what you're known for, okay? And usually what you're known for is for your for your smarts, for your mindset, even for how you socialize, just for the words that you say, for the information that you put out there into the world. Okay, so moving on, Libra. Libra, this new moon will happen in your 9th house. So I think here, Libra, for you, there is this desire to want to start something new with respect to higher education. Like, Libra, with Gemini in the ninth, you're always willing to open yourself up to the world around you and explore unknown territories, expanding your horizons with your mindset. It's like that curiosity for you, Libra, really does lead the way. So yeah, I think possibly you taking on some sort of new higher educational program or advanced training as well. So training yourself further, becoming qualified um, within a particular field or area. So yeah, fresh perspectives when it comes to these areas, new beginnings when it comes to these areas, and possibly even setting new intentions when it comes to long distance travel and looking just at international communication overall. So this could be where, okay, right, you want to maybe travel to a certain location, but this could also be where you want to reach out to people from different countries and connect in new, interesting ways. Okay, so yeah, I would say new beginnings when it comes to these things as well. Scorpio. Okay, so Scorpio, this new moon is going to happen in your eighth house. So let's think about firstly how the eighth house is tied to joint resources, joint financial planning. So this could be where you are open to learning something new to do with these areas, or you're willing to have a conversation with um, whoever you're sharing money with. Okay, so thinking about your partner's money, thinking about what sort of finances and earnings they bring into your relationship, and then yeah, having these discussions, but doing so with the intention of starting something new. Um, and then another thing is, let's think about intimacy, right? So perhaps this is about experiencing new beginnings to do with intimacy. And maybe it's that you feel like there is more to explore in an intimate way, even in a sexual way as well. Okay, if you think about the eighth house, how it can be tied to sexuality. So yeah, fresh perspectives when it comes to these things for you, Scorpio. And then I'll also say with this one, new beginnings when it comes to how your mindset transforms. I mean, for you, Scorpio, with with Gemini in the eighth house, your mind is always transforming, and the fact that your mind is always transforming is what, in a way, transforms you as a person. Um, yeah, when your mindset shifts, when your mindset changes, it's like, right, I feel like I've changed as a person, as a being. So, all of this is to say that this is about planting new seeds, setting new intentions when it comes to these very transformations. Okay, Sagittarius. So, this new moon will happen in your seventh house. All right, Sagittarius. I think that this is about beginning a new cycle to do with your clients, any customers you have, thinking about your significant other. So there could be a new cycle happening there with your significant other. Maybe it's that you go through an entirely new experience, or it's that you wish to go through an entirely new experience together, or it's that you come together and you negotiate. You really think about, right, okay, well, what is the next step here? Let's discuss this. Let's have a conversation about this. And let's also consider the give and take, the back and forth. What do you want versus what I want? Okay, so we can see each other's point of view on this, but maybe not on this. Okay, we agree on this. Well, we disagree on this. So yeah, I would say there's a lot of chit chatter. There's a lot of chit chatter for you then, Sagittarius, to do with these areas. Going on within your relationships, the chit chatter is happening. And this, of course, can apply to not just the relationship that you have with your significant other, but even thinking about, close friends, your business partnerships, your colleagues in this way, especially those one-to-one colleague slash business partner relationships. And also the last thing I want to say is thinking about any business deals, any contracts, agreements that you're signing, something new coming up here. Okay, something new, something different. and learning a lot from the experience as well. I mean, it's you, Sagittarius, and no matter what you do in life, you're always going to learn from the experience. Everything's about experience when it comes to Sagittarius. Love it. Okay, so Capricorn. Capricorn, this new moon is going to happen in your sixth house. So I see this as you really wanting to go through something quite fresh and new when it comes to your services, the things that you offer, when it comes to task organization, thinking about how you manage your day, time management, timekeeping, your scheduling. Yeah, just switching something up or realizing just how much you have going on there when it comes to your working life. It can be a bit of a juggle for you, perhaps. Um, Capricorn. And perhaps as well, there are these new intentions that you wish to set with regard to your health. Okay, if we think about how you have Mercury in the sixth house, Mercury can be tied to the nervous system, it can be tied to the mind, it can be tied to the hands, the shoulders as well. So I'm laughing because I'm sitting like this, right? I'm sitting like, you can't really see very well. I'll put up the screen a little bit. Hold on, and I'll show you what I mean. If I go here. Yeah. So I was basically sitting like this, and then I'm realizing just that's such bad posture. like like and I was sitting talking to you, Capricorn, about, okay, you've got Gemini in the sixth house. And what I was going to say there is that with health, just be cautious of, posture, be cautious of like what you're doing with your shoulders. Um, be cautious as well of your nervous system. Okay. Because when it comes to your nervous system, it can be like, yeah, jittery, just you can feel like things are overstimulated, or you're very nervous, very restless, tense as well, I would say. Capricorn, maybe because it's just like you have so much to do all the time. So all of this is to say, Capricorn, take care of your health, all right? And all of this is to say that you may set new intentions to do with your health during this time, because you realize, oh my gosh, I've been taking on so much. Maybe I need to take care of myself here. Okay, Aquarius. Amy, hello, welcome. We're on Aquarius right now. Talk about timing. Welcome. Okay, so Aquarius, this new moon in Gemini is going to take place in your fifth house. All right. So I would say, yeah, the very obvious, where you will be setting new intentions to do with your creativity. It's like, I want to do something that is enjoyable, fun. I want to create in a way where there is variety, there's versatility. Of course, just be cautious with Gemini. I mean, Gemini anywhere suggests this, but be cautious of spreading yourself too thin, and be cautious of jumping from one creative project to the next. Yes, I'm an Aquarius, and I never really learned this lesson. Okay, you know what? I have improved. I think I have improved. But then what do you see a year from now, and it's like, oh well, still learning. Look, I'm just fooling around. But basically here, Aquarius, yeah, I think that this is about you setting new intentions with respect to your creativity and also your forms of enjoyment, play, and the things that you like to do during your spare time, thinking about hobbies that you have. You may have a variety of hobbies. I mean, Aquarius, yes, with Gemini in the fifth house, you do not like to be tied down to one specific thing. You like to kind of dabble into few different things all of the time. Yeah, you can be really curious people, and even just your self-expression is that of curiosity and intrigue and interest. So basically all of this is to say, Aquarius, that I think this new moon is going to really highlight this fresh start, this fresh perspective with respect to these very things. And lastly, Pisces. So Pisces, this new moon will happen in your fourth house. So thinking about your emotional security, your emotional well-being, yeah, I think this is a time for you to really go inward, okay? And for you to analyze and assess, okay, how am I feeling? How am I feeling? What thoughts are coming to the surface here? Um, is it that I feel scattered or restless right now? Is it that I need a moment just to go inward, just to recenter myself, just to collect myself here? I mean, this is you, Pisces. Pisces, yeah, you need that time to maybe disconnect from the world, to detach for a little while, to be on your own, to be in solitude for a little while. But basically, I think this is a new moon where it's like, okay, consider your privacy, consider your safety, consider your emotional needs, what you need in order to feel safe and secure and protected. And just, yeah, take that time to really gather yourself, collect yourself, collect your thoughts. And then possibly even starting a new cycle, setting new intentions to do with family and home and your living situation. So thinking about the relationships that you have with certain family members, is it that you feel like you can chat enough, or is it that you need to talk about a few things, you need to let things off your chest? Um, or is it maybe that you would like to change something about your living situation just in general? So that is us, everyone. That is the new moon in Gemini. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here today. And if you are interested in booking a reading with me, you can do so. Yeah, you can do so over at hannahselsewhere.com. I now offer consultations. So you can get recorded readings from myself, but you can also get live consultations where, you can jump on Skype and we can talk about your chart, answer questions that you have. But all my services are there at hannahselsewhere.com. And if you did enjoy this presentation today, you can always buy me a coffee. The link is down below for that. But basically, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Do make sure to give this video a like if you did enjoy it today, if you liked it today. And yeah, thank you so much for listening, and all the very best during this new moon. All the very best to you. Rob, awesome. Thank you. Yes, thank you so much. Jason, thanks again. Lots of love. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Jason. And yeah, that is pretty much me. Hope you have a great rest to your Sunday, everyone, and I will talk to you very, very soon.